Hey, welcome back and thanks for tuning in. You know, folks, I thought I had gotten everything off my chest when I reviewed The Lion King, but this week I realized I had more to say when I saw Vanity Fair publish this mini docu-video featuring Jon Favreau talking about his process for recreating the whole opening scene of the remake of Lion King, The Circle of Life, The Birth of Simba, and all that stuff. If you want to watch the entire video, I'll put the link down in the description, but I want to point out a couple things that Jon Favreau said in this video that really made the hair on my neck stand up. A couple things that he said were, the trick is to make people feel like they saw the old movie when you show them the new one. And if you show them the shots and moments they remember in lines of dialogue or songs, it kind of checks the boxes in their mind. Let me repeat that. If you show them the shots and moments they remember in lines of dialogue or song, it kind of checks the boxes in their mind. That, to me, makes this movie no longer an experience, but a task. And in my experience, that also moves this film from an imaginative venture to a calculated one. A term I'd like to throw into the arena that this video calls to mind regarding animation is convention. No, not that kind. So in the cinematic and stage world, convention is a word used to describe anything that is accepted between performers and the audience as reality in the world of that story, even if it's completely unrealistic. If we apply this to cinematic animation, some examples would be breaking the fourth wall and speaking to the audience.
Not in front of the kids.
Oh, sorry.
Bursting out into song in the middle of a scene.
You've got to pull yourself together. Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston, looking so down in the dumps.
Giving animals physical actions that probably only humans can do. Those are just a few examples of conventions that can be used in storytelling. What they do is they let the audience member know the rules of the world that the story is taking place in. Animation at its core is capturing the essence of expression and using that in an imaginative, limitless way. We can put characters in any world. We can tell any story that we want to. Animation is a form of heightened reality, as are some films and most, if not all, stage plays and musicals. We know going in as an audience member that we're probably going to be taken on an extraordinary journey. You can't create a heightened reality when you're working this hard to mimic it in excruciating detail. In the video, Favreau even talks about how they changed the anointing of Simba at the beginning of the film from a fruit to a root, because the root was more realistic and the fruit would not actually produce a red juice. This is what they're paying attention to in a movie about talking animals. One of the conventions of animation is the element of exaggeration, the squash and stretch, the extreme expressions. We know that those things aren't necessarily realistic, but we accept them as parts of the stories that they belong to. Another very specific convention that happens 99% of the time with Disney animal animated characters are eyebrows. Most animals living on this planet do not have eyebrows and instead rely heavily on smell, sound, and physical body action to convey mood and emotion. And with it being safe to say that most animation is made for humans to view and consume, we need to be able to connect with the characters in it on an emotional human level. I imagine you've heard the phrase that eyes are the window to the soul. Well, eyebrows don't come far behind, and they are two physical attributes of humanity that we rely heavily, if not completely on, to understand what is going on with another living thing on this planet. Unless we're trained zoologists, most of us don't know how to read animal behavior at a first glance. Being that animation is a human invention, yet heavily relies on animal characters, we have to meet somewhere in the middle. So in the decades of animation's evolution, animators have figured out that most animal characters need eyebrows and big old eyes in order for us to empathize with them. Most animation studios have this down to a T, and Disney itself has perfected it. You can look at most images of a Disney animated animal character and know exactly how they're feeling without them even speaking a word, like confidence, mischief or malice, contentment, shock or horror, or can you make sweet, sweet love to me until the sun comes up? Now take a look at these movie stills from the new Lion King and try to guess what the animals are feeling. By creating this docu-realistic version of this classic animated Disney story, you have completely obliterated the lifeline by which we connect with these characters. Just like in a National Geographic documentary, we largely don't know what's going on unless there's a dramatic narrative overlay. But with this remake, they've created two conflicting elements duking it out right there on the screen with you. Emotionless faces with the emotion of the voice actors. And that's why it doesn't work. The characters are so similar and homogenized now, they have to tell you who is who on the poster. One of the purposes of animation is to make emotions and conditions crystal clear and to rise above the everyday. Animation is nearly a limitless art form. It can take us to worlds that we can't visit in everyday life. It can help us explore parts of our imagination that we haven't unlocked yet. And it can unite us in stories and emotions and experiences that we have all universally gone through. When you start to negate imagination at the expense of painstakingly recreating reality, you've lost your way. And that's what I feel Disney has done with this remake. Their ability to create needs to far exceed their hunger to innovate. Because while you're taking 2 steps forward with your technology, you're taking giant leaps backward with your legacy. And that's my opinion. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, and let's continue the discussion down below. See you next time.